What's your name?
My name is Nina.
Well, so the Star, is the most well-known gambling casino in Australia. So I wonder how is it like working in casino industry?
You've asked the right person. So I actually used to work as a table games dealer. So I used to deal roulette, blackjack and baccarat, for example. I know baccarat is extremely popular in Macau and also in Las Vegas. So I used to deal that game. It's a really unique job. There's nothing else quite like it. It's customer service, but it's also unique in that we have to make sure that we deal the game according to specific gaming rules. So, and there's different ways that we have to deal with issues when they arise. So we have to follow a procedure for every single thing that we do. Yeah, so it's very unique. But the good thing about a company like The Star is that you're not just limited to one role in one team. So, for example, in my background, I started off as a table games dealer.
Yeah.
I was working as a table games dealer while studying for university at the same time. So I actually had been working in gaming operations on table games. I'd been working in that role for 6 years. And by the end of my university studies, I was a pit boss. We call it a gaming operations supervisor. But I was basically running the floor. So I'd be making sure all the tables were opened. I'd look at what games we were offering, what prices so the minimum bet, the maximum bet. I'd look at which guests needed to go on a break and take a break. So we have to have safer gaming as well.
Yeah.
I'd be making sure team members were okay and safe. If anybody felt sick, I had to make sure they got home safely, things like that. So, and also performance reviews. So making sure all our team members were getting skilled and being able to deal the game correctly whenever there were disputes. So let's say I was dealing roulette and the team member made the incorrect payout and the guest said, this is wrong. I would have to go and review the surveillance footage and work out the correct payment and then make sure it was paid correctly.
Yeah.
So that was a really unique part of my role. Then I was mentioning earlier, I was doing this role while I was studying for university.
Yeah.
So then, at the end, when I graduated university, I actually joined the graduate program and I worked in IT for 14 months.
Whoa.
And now I'm a technical business analyst. So what I do is I work in our database team and I talk with the business and if they have any questions or concerns, maybe they don't understand the data correctly, I help explain it to them in language that they understand. Yeah, so you can move. The great thing about our company is you don't stay with just one team. You can move to so many different teams, lots of different roles. Yeah.
So for people who want to get into this industry, maybe they are not very good at math and calculating.
Yeah.
Can they apply for this job?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's just what my experience is in casino games. But we also have restaurants and bars and we have hotels and things like that. So just because you don't want to work in a casino doesn't mean you can't still work for the Star. So you could work in a hotel as front office or reception, concierge. You can work in housekeeping, facility cleaning. If you wanted to work in food and beverage, you can become a bartender, a waiter. You can do restaurant management as well. So there's so many different roles that are available. You don't have to be good at maths. You don't have to be smart.
Yeah.
In that way, you can do all different roles as well. Yeah.
So maybe in this industry, what is the most challenging things to maybe work in
a casino industry?
Yeah.
So if we think about traditional casino industries in the world, your two biggest industries, I would probably say three biggest industries. You're looking at Las Vegas, Macau, and maybe the Philippines or Thailand, Cambodia. So those are your three biggest industries. Australia, in comparison, is quite small because we only have a population of 26 million people. So we do rely a lot on tourism. But the way that the casino industry operates in Australia is it is extremely regulated. So I mentioned before when I was dealing table games, we have to deal according to procedures and processes. Those things are regulated. So we have a government agency who looks after that, and every time we change something, we have to get their approval before we change it,
really?
right? So if I give you an example of a basic procedure, and I'm on a table game, something as simple as when I come to the table, I can't just come to the table and start dealing. I have to show clean hands to make sure that I don't have chips in my hands. I'm not bringing anything with me. And when I leave the table, same thing. I'm not taking any chips with me. Our uniforms have slits in the sleeves, so you can't take chips with you. The way that we deal our games is all regulated. There's laws, so legislation that informs what we have to do. That's probably the most challenging aspect. You're working with a regulator, which is great, it's fine. You have they're auditing what you do, and it's great for governance, making sure we're doing the right thing and we're doing it according to best practice. But it also means that every time you do something, somebody else has to get involved. And ultimately, they might be someone who is approving it, and that can take a lot of time. So the most challenging aspect is working with the regulator, both in terms of the level of detail we need to go into, how we explain things, and also how long it might take them to approve something we do. And maybe it doesn't get approved as well. So after all the work we do, we submit it for approval, and if it gets denied, then back to square one, start again. Yeah, that's the most challenging thing.
Wow,
yeah.
I see, yeah. And how would you expect the future of the gaming industry in Australia? Because in the future, they will have like Olympic in Brisbane.
Correct.
Also, there is a new casino building is building now.
That's
like
correct,
the start.
yes.
So, yeah.
What does the future look like for us? Okay. In Australia, not just casinos have gaming facilities. You also have what we call pubs and clubs, and they are big sort of community organisations, and they get a lot of their business revenue to fund all their services from pokie machines, what you might know as slot machines or gaming machines. They also have those too. So our industry, casino industry, is just us and Crown and a couple of other properties, but then we also have pubs and clubs. What we're seeing is a trend towards tighter controls around safer gaming and risk and governance. So we have to be really mindful of making sure that when we offer our gaming services, that we're not encouraging people to spend all their life savings, that they're not staying for 5 days in a row and playing for 4 days. You know, those days in Australia are long gone, especially in casinos. It's very tightly controlled, and we have to be really mindful of how we advertise our gaming services. When we think about the future in terms of tourism, more broadly, Brisbane is a really up-and-coming city. We've been named in the New York Times as one of the hot tourist destinations in the future. I've lived in Brisbane my whole life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so for me, I remember it as a small town, not many skyscrapers. Now the city has changed a lot. It's really exciting. I'm really, really excited to see this particular complex, the Star Brisbane.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see it being developed because it's world class. It's like, here's our tiny little city of 3 million people, and we're advertising it to the world, and it's something that can compete on the world stage. So that for us is really exciting. The Olympics have already caused so much to be developed in Brisbane: new transport, new apartments, new restaurants, different operating business models for like our restaurants and things like that. And we've got a really great social scene and cultural scene in Brisbane as well. So it's really, really exciting. Yeah, all I can think of is just how great it's going to be for tourists coming here as well. Yeah, different side to Brisbane, I think.
So great. And maybe personally, how would you like to achieve in the future? Maybe would you like to work in Las Vegas, like international countries?
That would be so much. That would be really fun. But I think that's the one great thing about casinos is that, I mean, maybe the same is true for many other businesses, but for casinos, the way in which casinos operate is very unique as well. It's a very unique business. So what that means is if you have casino knowledge, you can take that with you to other countries. So I could work in Las Vegas, and I would be able to take my knowledge from Australia, safer gaming, risk, controls, financial crime. I'm able to take that with me to Las Vegas. Maybe their regulations aren't as strict as ours, so we would be able to see some change there too. So you can work globally, but for me personally, I now work in IT, information technology, so I'm excited to continue my career in information technology. Yeah, so we'll see where that takes me in the world.
I see. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.